Yo, cool. All right. Not the most professional introduction, but my name's Sam McAlpin. I'm here with Stephen Brewer. Stephen, how are you, buddy?
Good, man. How
Yeah.
you been?
Doing good. Life's kind of crazy sometimes. I'm trying to figure everything out. And but other than that, it's good. It's really, really good. We just had a guy, Trevor Peak just went on TV.
That's
That was
awesome.
that
Yeah,
was
it's
really cool
great.
to see. I like that. I just sound a little rough. Trying to pick it up. Pick it up. There you go. Now I don't sound so bad. All right. So I told you, where are you at as far as on God and Jesus? Where do you stand there? You believe in God, Jesus, and stuff?
Yeah, quite a startup, but yeah.
Yeah, right away, right?
Yeah.
So I have a good. I asked a buddy of mine a question earlier, and he's in like the Jesus line of work. That's what he does. Buddy of mine, he's a preacher, stuff like that. And so I asked him. I said, "Hey man, do you think that people back in the day, like in Bible times, were eating mushrooms?" So what do you think? Or psychedelics?
The,
Doesn't have to be a mushroom. Psychedelics in general.
psychedelics were part of the culture for thousands of years.
Elaborate,
Thousands and
please.
thousands of years. I mean, it's always been part of every culture. So it's just bled into, you know, using plants and using any kind of opiates, natural opiates has been probably, I mean, that's the most primitive. You would have cannabis and mushrooms are probably the most primitive mind altering substances that were consumed by humans, probably. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, for me, the reason I thought about it is because, like, they're talking about burning bushes, and I have no doubt that back in the day that God could have, that did come down and talk. I believe a lot of the Bible. Now, some people don't. I believe the Bible, not to a T, because again, we wrote it. People wrote that. I believe a lot of what's in it, though, the things that God did, I believe all of that happened. I just think, I think sometimes there's some stuff that gets took kind of, how do you say it? I think a lot of people take advantage of the church and their position
Sure.
and things like that. And I think that's
It's been
happened.
distorted throughout
Yeah.
time.
And
Yeah,
I-
just like everything else.
And I think it's been that way for years and years and years. I believe in the Bible. Past the Bible, I believe 100% in God and Jesus. And I think everything cool I've ever got to do was them. I'll never, ever say any different. No one can convince me any different.
Right.
But just hearing them talk about, like, the burning bush. And then I watched Moses the other day. Was it Moses? Moses? The movie with the ark, Noah's Ark. It was like called Noah. There's a movie called Noah. It's about Noah's Ark. It's got a whole lot of big actors in it. Hermione's in it from Harry Potter and stuff. And I doubt it went exactly that way. But the guy was saying he was like in the woods eating just eating mushrooms and whatever he could find, man. And then the flood hit, and he was just there. He goes, "Oh no!" Flood hit. It was.
But see, a lot of that was probably discovered by accident. I mean, people foraged.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. People foraged for food, and sometimes they ate stuff that they just ate whatever they saw that looked like they could eat.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's it. They didn't have McDonald's or anything like that,
Yeah.
So
So
that's how it was discovered. And sometimes they were like, hey, this stuff, this is pretty neat. Well, the word might have spread.
hey, this is pretty wild. We ain't got PlayStation 5 yet.
Yeah.
God told me that's going to be a banger. But right now, we got this, man, and I can see that being crazy.
But you make a great point though, and I just have to say this: if someone walks out of his own grave, and historically there's nothing to refute that it happened,
Nothing.
wouldn't it be worth it to pay attention to what he said?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I mean that's, and you asked if it's. I don't like the word religion. The word religion bothers me because of those distortions that we talked about. It's more of a relationship.
Yes.
And it's the Bible was written by men, but that was put together at a very special time and in a very special way. I mean, that stuff's been. Think about how much the culture would like to see that destroyed.
Oh yeah.
How hard it was. All the Roman soldiers had to do was produce a corpse.
Yeah.
Produce a corpse.
No,
and
he
it's
did.
over.
He gone.
Produce a corpse and it's over. And they've had 2,500 years. It hasn't happened. So.
It really never did. So I had a buddy on here one time, and this is just me asking your opinion. Again, and this is me asking you your opinion. So Judas did a bad thing, right?
Horrible thing. Yeah.
Horrible thing. the way I've read it, it had to happen. So did he for sure go to hell, or are we over here judging and we're wrong? Where are you at on that? That's a good question. It's a hard one though.
Well, I mean, I hate to judge something like that. I've heard that. I knew some people in my youth that used to think that, oh, I think he played his part in history and he had to do what he had to do.
That's how I'm looking at it.
I've heard a lot of people say that. I mean, the idea of an omniscient God means he knows everything we're gonna do long ago, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that he's gonna pigeonhole you into having to do that, right? You know what I mean, right? You've always got free will.
You get the choice.
You've got free will. You can make an alternate future according to how you use your free will. Under the guidelines of being, a creature of the Creator.
So for me, I agree with that. I do think we always have the free will. I think it would. I do think it would. I don't know. I don't think we can really judge. I don't think he should have. I can say I don't think he should have done it, but if he hadn't have done it, then I'm kind of at a catch-22 because if he don't do it, crucifixion, at least as far as it's read, doesn't happen. So that's hard for me to grasp.
But there's a point of judgment in the scheme of things when you're talking about the essence of who we are and where we came from and where we're going, at which we have to admit our limitations. We can't understand that. Why do children die violent deaths? Why do bad things happen to good people? All that kind of stuff. How do you rationalize that? Sometimes it's just so tragic and so horrible, and you think, well, how could you do it? How could you allow something like this? But there's a bigger plan at play than we're allowed to know at this point. And at some point, humility has to step up and say, "Yep, that's it." That's the ceiling of what we can grasp. But it's worth it to listen. To toe the line, because that's the point. We're here. We're here as instruments to glorify our Maker. That's our job. That's what we're supposed to do, and we do that by how we treat other people. And there's no bigger lesson or better thing to learn than that. I mean, when you're talking about your eternal destination, you talk about the responsibility you have for your kids. I mean, can you wrap your mind around the idea?
It's hard and terrifying.
Yeah, can you wrap your mind? And you're a dad, you know what I'm talking about. This is what really bothers me is I'm responsible for their eternal souls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's hard and heavy.
Man.
That's hard and heavy. That means I really got to get my stuff straight. You know what I mean?
And it's extra hard to do. There's the pressure there.
Yeah. But if it wasn't there, doubt I'd even think about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just be out here getting it.
That's part of the reason why it's so special to have the family.
Agreed. And I still do. I don't mean to do bad things. It's kind of in our nature to do it, and I'm trying to do better. It's hard. I'm trying to set a better example. I say as I drink my Tecate Cerveza Light, not to excess. It's a good beer.
It is good.
They don't sponsor the show. They should. But
they might ship you a promotional case.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Anything like that would be cool. I think it does make it hard. I'm just trying to be a good dad.
I hear you.
I hate to say anything's all about money, but it's not. And it's not really. But at some point, anything I do does have to be about money. At some point. Not in a bad way. Not in the, I want to get super rich way. And I do. Not for a bad reason. I would love to say, yeah, I want to get rich so I can go be Wolf of Wall Street and hop on a yacht and snort blow and just blah. But my life's different. I got a wife and 4 kids. Mm-hmm. There's devil in me, no doubt. You, everyone else. Me and my wife were talking the other day, and I told her, I said, I want to get drunk as a skunk. I want to get drunk. I want to get drunk and burn this town down. Not in a bad way. Not because of my choice. I just know how I get when I drink. If I drink a lot, I grew up drinking. Alcoholism runs in my family, and it got me in a lot of trouble growing up. I was in jail more times than I could count. And then when I got a little older and I realized it was a problem, because it took a long time to realize it was a problem. It took me having kids, realizing that my drinking unleashes this animal that wants to just do terrible things and talk bad to people. And I hate to, I don't know where I was going with that. Oh yeah, I was talking to my wife and I told her I want to do that. I want to do these bad things. I want to flirt with women. I want to drink alcohol to excess. I want to do drugs. I don't do drugs. It's not a thing for me. But sin is always the most easily and readily available option. And anyone out there in the world that says they don't have at least one sin that they want to do daily, they're a liar.
Oh yeah.
Preacher, regular person, anybody, if they say no, I'm perfect every day, you're a liar. That was God and Jesus. And if Adam and Eve hadn't done the app, the there was two trees in the garden, right? Have you read that?
Oh yeah.
So there was two trees. There was what two trees you weren't supposed to touch. There was the knowledge of good and evil, and then what was the other one?
I don't recall.
I don't remember the other one
I
either.
remember the knowledge of good and evil to not eat that. You say something interesting there. This is something that I've waxed philosophical about some of this. I don't believe the first sin was Eve eating the apple. I think the first sin was the motivation of Lucifer to revolt.
Agreed. I like
the
it.
ego. You know what I mean? And that's something I think we don't maybe talk about enough or think about enough.
Do you think God is all powerful? Correct, is how it is described. Do you think it's possible? And it's a good question. I've asked it before, but do you think it is possible today that God could say, and Jesus, God, the Trinity, could tell Satan, just repent, still today, and we can wash over all this, or that's out. That's not a possibility. That's a heavy one though, ain't it?
It's just like the Judas question.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, it's of the same species, and it's I can't predict that play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't expect it.
I don't either. I don't either.
I wouldn't hold my breath for that. Well, because it promises different. And you say something interesting, and this is something that I've grown into more as I've gotten older. There's nothing I can do to deserve anything. Like if I'm sitting in a jail cell and I've just committed a heinous crime and I know I'm going to be punished for it, right? I've already pled guilty and I know I'm ready to go for sentencing. And someone walks in and says, "Hey, someone covered your guilty verdict. You're free to go."
Yeah, don't deserve that.
Right. Well, that's what that's it. That's what Jesus is. You know what I mean? That's how it happens. And there's nothing I can do to merit that. That's why I have some questions about some of the Orthodox ritualistic, dogmatic type things that I see trouble me sometimes. Because
can you elaborate on that after you finish? Just
sure.
Don't. You ain't got to dog nobody. Just elaborate on what you mean, because I don't know right off.
Well, because everything is so much like do this, don't do that. You go to the Ten Commandments, right? And then from that we've extrapolated out to all this, the catechists and the Catholic faith. There's just rules that you got to do this and you got to do that. And you got to do this and you got to do that. That's dogma, right? To me, that is. And if you don't do this, you get punished. And if you don't do that, you get punished. And here's the level of punishment for this. And here's the level of punishment for that.
Yeah. Don't
catalog it like that. You are not God. You are not the deity. And you don't get to make those kinds of categorizations, I don't think, But the idea is that the debt's paid. The whole presence of Jesus is that the debt's paid. And he's the one who paid the fee. And if you accept the fee that he paid and you accept him as that, worship him as that, you are going to be a different person. And there's no way you're not going to, if you enact a relationship for Jesus, you are different, And then the natural self fights it back, right? Suppresses it, because it wants to be the wild one that goes out and burns the town down like you were talking about. That's just our natural tendency because we're rebellious, fallen people. There's a reason why we're here. There's a reason why we're separated from our maker because we screwed up.
Yeah, really bad.
And the story of redemption runs straight through the entire Bible. The whole Old Testament talks about, if you look at it, it's all about Jesus and when he's coming. Then you got the New Testament. It's about him when he was here, what he did. He came, took the cross for us, and came back, walked out of his own grave to prove it. I mean, and then where it's going to be at the end of that.
Can you imagine having been there to see that? We got it made.
A lot of the people who wrote that really were, though. That's what I was saying to you before, what I had inferred before. Yeah, it was written by people, but it was written by a certain set of people, who were among a very uniquely placed group around deity itself. I mean, they wrote about Alexander the Great, 400 or 500 years after he lived, right? And there was no debate about that. The first writings of Jesus came within 60 years after his crucifixion and resurrection and ascension. So it's been validated throughout. I mean, it's actually really tight. It's really close. So, But the whole thing is about him. You know, the before, the during, and the after. You know, and under the presence of an omniscient God, you know, you don't have those. Or an omnipresent God is up. That's another thing that used to really kick around in my head. The idea that, and we understand things as being in the past and the present and the future, but as you and I sit here talking right now from the standpoint of God, it's all simultaneous existence. So like at this very moment, Jesus is on the cross. At this very moment, you know, Adolf Hitler's giving a speech in Nazi Germany. At this very moment,
That's crazy.
Eve's biting the apple. You know, you're completely.
It's all one time
that.
to him.
Yeah, it's above and beyond. Because to have a maker, you have to have something outside of the created, something that doesn't play by those rules, something that's out further from that. You have to. You know, nothing ever conceived itself. But whatever does is not going to be part of what it conceives. Not exactly. It's going to have a superior presence, you know?
You're blowing my mind, sir. That was some wild stuff right there for me. That was crazy to hear. So you said right now Adolf Hitler's
well, everything is happening at the same instant.
Yeah, everything's happening at the same time to God.
So obviously there's going to be decisions that God makes that I don't get, because that blows my mind too, you know?
Amen. I have to ask a question. And this is my opinion. This is not my opinion. This is a question. So Hitler, in my opinion, was a very bad guy. I'm not a fan of Adolf Hitler.
Right.
I don't. I feel bad for what happened to the Jewish people. I feel bad for what happened to the Indians on the Trail of Tears. Everyone says, "Well, no, they just some." I got people I know that say, "Well, no, they just made a bad trade deal." But no, man, they didn't know what the hell they was doing. Mm-hmm. They was from a different time and place. Y'all got them. We got them drunk on firewater. Let them burn their
smallpox blankets.
Yeah, let them burn their own place down. And so I'm not with that. But on the Adolf Hitler thing, do you think he thought he was doing the right thing? Do you think he thought, like, hey, this is what I'm supposed to do?
And it goes back to that. All the theme here is free will versus.
And I don't mean to give him an out there. I'm asking, right. Like.
And I hate to say it, but that reminds me of the Judas question too.
Good gosh,
man. You know, I mean, because it's all about, you know, at what point does it's free will versus predestination? I mean, are we limited? Like, you know, my wife's she went back to college this semester.
Congratulations.
Right?
That's awesome.
She's going to be great. Yes. She's reading about like the Puritans and stuff in her history class. Now, they used to have this idea of predestination that said, and this is where we came from, man. This is it. I mean, these were the original settlers here, the non-native settlers, you know, and they believed that there was a predestination, and you didn't know whether you were or you weren't. You didn't know if you were on the list or you were not on the list. So what a way to live a life.
Yeah.
You know, like they had this list of stuff they had to do too, and they were like, sometimes they'd be like, why am I even doing this if my name's not even maybe on the list? No wonder there was a lot of unrest in the colonies, right?
Yeah.
That's some pretty mysterious existence, you know?
Like, what do you mean? I don't get to get what? We don't know who's going?
Yeah, they don't know. Yeah, like you don't know. Like they'll just be like, predestination says, you know, you can try your best, you can think your best, you can do your best, but if you're not predestined to do it, they totally exclude free will having anything to do with it as far as your eternal destination. It has nothing to do with your free will. It's just
you might go to heaven, you might not.
You might not. There's a list back here. You don't get to see it.
Oh no, see, I don't like that.
It's kind of like elections nowadays.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
we got the winners tallied up back here, but y'all don't get to see it. Just sit down and shut up.
Trust us. This is cool.
You're in the hands of the government.
I talk to God. Worry. God's a cool cat. Some of y'all's in. Some of that ain't cool. That ain't. I don't believe in that. I'm not saying I don't believe in predestination. I can't say I don't, because maybe that's a thing. I don't know the way God works. I don't know the way the universe works. And I'm going to touch on this part first. I'm going to touch in a second. So I don't know the way the universe works. What I don't believe
Nobody does.
Yeah. What I don't believe about predestination is that God was like, hey, brother, I'm just going to tell you, just you rich people that's kind of in power over there, I'm going to let you know. And then other people can kind of guess. No way, man. If you read the Bible, God loved the poor person. God loved the sinner. Oh, yeah. God loved all these people.
It all springs from the humble origins.
Yeah, it ain't hey rich cat. But now also, someone told me the other day that there's a verse, and Vicky told me there's a verse in the Bible where God was telling someone to build a church, and he told him to build everything like with gold. And she said this was God to so and so. He said I want it to be banging and bussing, and I want it to slap, son. And that's where I'm like, well, nah. Kind of that seems like something some dude might have put in to kind of grab him a little gold and throw something off. Because that's why on earth would God ever care about money? well, now I can't understand the way God thinks. But also, like, ain't there like other stuff we can do with that gold? You see what I'm saying? What do you think about like a demonic possession? Real, not real? Where we at?
Sure, it's real.
Yeah.
Sure, it's real.
Think. Go ahead. Go.
No, it's very real. I mean, it's I had an experience once with a family member who stayed with him for a while. I stayed with him for a while, and he was tormented by a lady that used to call. He had to. My brother in law was a pastor. He was a preacher. This was in Waveland, Mississippi, right? And this old lady in his church used to. Just a little old lady, little old widowed little lady, um, probably in her late 70s, early 80s. Nice as she could be at church, she became possessed,
God.
right? So she would call and threaten our lives and threaten to kill his family, and
No way.
in this strange demonic voice over the phone, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It was really, he had to call the local Catholic priest and say, because he was a Baptist preacher, so he called the local Catholic.
What? No,
priest.
that was here.
No, this was in Waveland, Mississippi.
Keep going. Sorry. Go.
Yeah, and it was he called some of the local Catholic priests and he said, "Hey, I'm Baptist. We don't have a game book for this."
Oh my
So
god.
he said, "Can you help me with this?" And so he got a couple of priests, from there in New Orleans. They went and did the exorcism.
Good
Yeah.
God. That's I'd love. I don't want to see one because like it'd be my
No.
luck. Like now, I was exercised one time.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, not very good because I'm still me. I'm kidding. But so I got in a lot of trouble in school, and I would love to talk to that guy. I want to talk to people that do that. I got in a lot of trouble at school. I had ADHD. Every kid's diagnosed with ADHD. I'm just
Nowadays,
assuming
yeah.
I couldn't sit still, and so they were like, "Hey, he's got ADHD. Let's give him meth." It'd be
Yeah.
great. It'd be great for
For
him.
kids.
Yeah, he's 5. No, I can't sit still. I got a kid over there, Kata, just like me. Can't sit still, save her life. I ain't going to put her on drugs to make her sit still and do what. Like I'll ask, like, "Dude, please sit your ass still. Like, stop. Just go the hell to sleep." But I ain't gonna go drug her out of her
Right.
mind to make her be still. And my dad told me, he said, "Hey man, if you keep getting in trouble, we're gonna take you over there to her grandma's house." And that was my stepmom's grandma. She lived in a church that she had bought, and she was a hoarder and a nice lady, but she was just a hoarder and super pro Jesus, which is great, but she was a little extra. So they took me over there. And I kept getting in trouble because like I ain't scared, dog. Kept getting in trouble. They took me over there. I'm like 13, 12 years old. They set me out in her yard, and she comes up to me, man, and she's every bit of 90 years old, and her eyes start rolling in her head, man, and she starts praying over me. I felt nothing. Because, well, not because she didn't believe what she was doing. Maybe she believed that was the thing. And I think belief is a whole lot in the Bible, man. Or not in the Bible. I think belief is a whole lot in what you say and do. If you believe something, you can believe yourself sick. You can believe yourself sore. You can believe yourself a little healthier. Placebo effect.
Sure.
She believed she was exorcising a demon from my body. And she might have. But with me standing there, I was like, nah, I'm a 13-year-old kid. Daddy ain't giving me enough attention at home. I'm trying to get some attention, and I'm getting it. I'm getting exercised right now in the yard, y'all. I win, And
Oh yeah.
And I would like to. I want to go to a snake handling church. I really do. What do you think about that?
It's not for me.
Not for me.
Not-
No,
not
I don't
for
want to
me.
go and touch them. I want to talk to them.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah,
Tell us,
sure. It'd
tell us
be
what you're
interesting.
doing. I'd like to see that. I'd really like to do that.
I'm sure you're good to talk. I'm sure.
I'm trying, man. I reached out. They told me no so far, but I got Kenny Young over at his place. Super great what Kenny's doing, man. Seeing Kenny's story from beginning to end is, do you know Kenny?
I don't think so.
So Kenny was like out there, strung out, and this is common knowledge. I'm not putting any of his business out. Strung out on dope about as bad as you can get, stealing people's cars, yada yada yada. Lived up in Ider, Henniger, Alabama area. You know how it is over there. And he just was bad. I always would see him around at parties and stuff. He'd tell me hey, he'd give me a hug. He'd always polite, but I could just see him. He'd be going with them fingers, man. They'd be moving. He'd be wilding out, and like I didn't know it at the time, but now that I've seen and know the story, I'm like, oh, dude, you was either fiending for dope or you just had the dope. And but now he ended up going to a place called His Place in Opelika, Alabama, and which is Auburn. He went there. He went through the program at His Place, found Jesus. Now he's over not the entire program, but he is a big boss dog at his place. It's something like
Nice.
it's something like people from here make up like 75% of the people that go up there because he knows us down here. He knows people down here, and he brings them up there. And it's you see him now, and no man, he's healthy. He's healthy. It's a really a feel good story. He's good people. He preached at my brother's mother's funeral the other day. Uh, brought a few people
Sorry to
down.
hear that.
It was awful. It was hard on him. He went to the Smokies with me, and he tied one on, and he deserved it. He deserved to do that. I had to like carry him back to a room, and he's just in rough shape. His mama was always around for him. She was always there. They were always together. He was the head of the table at the funeral. He was the head of the table, kind of in the build up to what was going on, and he took a lot of pride in that. And also, with that, it's like, damn,
It's a
son.
lot of pressure, man.
Yeah, like just being sad. He's a good daddy. He does everything good. I'm really proud of that guy, getting to see him and stuff. We didn't get to grow up together because people do what they do, and but now like that we're a little older, we're grown, we got our own jobs. He's working over at Siemens in Fort Payne. He's got a really good job. They love him up there. He does a good job, and I'm just really really proud of that guy. I saw Thomas the other day.
Did you?
Yeah. I was showing either Vicky or somebody, but I was like, this is where I grew up at, and I went driving by, and he was in the yard, and I went, oh, got to yell at him. So I think Charles is in town too, but I ain't sure. I want to stop it. I don't know why that happened, but I apologize. But so we've had some pretty crazy questions. Where you stand on aliens? Where are we at? Oh wait, no, before the aliens, because aliens is relevant. We're seeing UFOs now. Before that, we've been talking about God a lot. There's been different time periods. Do you think there was a time where God was like, no, I'm not going to be God right now. I'm going to be Zeus and Ares and all these extra, because God is all powerful. Do you think he was like, hey, I'm going to pop down as this? Or was it just these people didn't know anything about Jesus and they were eating mushrooms and saying these things?
There's only one self-sacrificing deity in all of the pantheon of gods, and that's Jesus. That's it. Only one deity sacrificed himself for us so that we wouldn't have to do it, and offered it as a free gift. And not just that, but the story met history. It was a real person who's even documented in secular literature. I mean, he actually lived, and we flipped our calendar during his lifespan in honor of his birth. I mean, that's only happened. That's it. No one else has been that, and there is no self-sacrificing deity. It's always something.
Give me something
inside. Yeah, something inside. Pull it inside. But this is a release. This is a release of self. It's a humility, kind of a humility portal into just surrendering to your maker.
Now, when you say we flipped our calendar, what do you mean?
From BC to AD, because we know Jesus was born 4 to 6 BC, somewhere in that ballpark. Well, that's where the historical life of that person was.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's where it fell. It fell right at the time we flipped our calendar, and that wasn't a coincidence. I mean, it really was.
How do you think? Who was Mary's husband? Jesus is kind of dead. How do you think Joseph felt during the time? Because I read the other day that did he divorce? Did they divorce?
No, we think he died. I think the general consensus is he died pretty young. He didn't live very long.
Now, as a man, if your wife comes to you, this is just conversation.
Oh, sure.
I believe in God and Jesus 100%. We're just it's just a long form convo. How do you think you as a man, if your wife comes to you, hey, I'm pregnant. If my wife comes to me, hey, I'm pregnant. But no, man, it wasn't. It's Jesus' baby. It's God's baby. Hey, you're going to feel a little some kind of way.
Yeah, you're seeing that through a very secular lens. Yeah, very.
But I don't mean it in a bad way.
Lens. I know, it's true. It's normal. It's true. It's a totally understandable way to see it.
Hey, Mama, grab baby, please. Go ahead.
But it's a special enough event that there were messengers sent from the Maker to both of them separately, because he actually refused at first. Of course, he was thrown off whack.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But an angel came to him and said the same thing. Said,
okay. Now that you say that, I remember that. He's like, well, no, this is going to be God.
So, I mean, if you had a view of an angel appearing to you saying that everything's cool, what she just told you is absolutely true.
No, I'm riding
Right.
it. I got it.
right? Then I'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I'm
cool
with that.
You know,
And that's why I asked because
Mhm.
I didn't even think nothing about that. But that is the thing. An angel does appear to Joseph.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. I got that. I got a buddy. I used to grow up around Blake Chandler and Cherokee Whitmire. Blake used to let me couch surf at his house.
He's a great guy.
He's a good cat. He's like us. He's got his shortcomings, but he I think he means good. It's just hard to always get that out. You know what I'm saying? We all got our shortcomings. Me and Blake's grown up a lot. He knows my bad. I know his bad. We're buddies, man. We've been out here together. I grew up. I was around 20 years old. Him and Cherokee let me crash on their couch. I was living with my granddad before that. Cherokee had a cousin that decided he was gonna move to Florida, and I don't get to go nowhere at the time. So I said, well, I'll ride with y'all. And they let me ride. We stayed at his mama's house for a week. On the way to his mama's house, there was a lady named Patience Whitmire, Cherokee's cousin. Her daddy's name is Ted. Ted is good people. He's got his vices and stuff, like the whole world does.
Right.
Ted's good people. He's never gave me 1 ounce of bad energy. He's never done anything that made me feel out of place. He's fed me. He's let me sleep in his beds. He hugs me when he sees me. I could call him right now. We ain't talked in years, and he'd tell me he loved me when we hung up. You know, it'd be an easy conversation. But he said something to me that stuck out to me. He said, and I can't believe we're talking about the Bible because I thought this was going to be something else, but it's cool. He said something to me. I was not big on Jesus at the time because I was just, a little loser, man. I was couch surfing, eating whatever pills I could get, and you know, and they got talking about the Bible and stuff. We was watching a Creed concert. You know Creed?
Oh yeah.
All right, so that guy's out there. He is out there
Mhm.
regularly, but he does sing about Jesus, which is great. He does believe in God and Jesus. It just so happens that he has a vice. And we was talking about God and Jesus and stuff, and something comes up. And he asked me if I knew John 3:16, and I said, "Oh yeah, son." And I belted it at him. I was ready. You asked me John 3:16, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son. Whoever so believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And you know what he said to me? He goes, "What's the next one?" And I tucked my tail between my legs, and I said, "Well, man, I guess I don't know." And he says it lot, and you can get people with it. And again, it's a secular lens, like you said. Why are you trying to just get people stumped on the Bible? You know what I mean?
Right.
Why are you trying to do it?
Playing gotcha.
Yeah. What do you mean? Like how they know the whole Bible? It's hundreds of chapters in
There's
there.
some people who do.
Yeah.
I told you my brother-in-law. I mean, he knows it like the back of his hand. There's some people. He's got a doctorate of theology.
Tell him we want to talk to him.
So
we want to have conversations all the time.
Oh,
That's all we want to do.
You would enjoy talking.
Please.
It'd be neat.
I'm not got you here. I got questions, man. And so the next verse is because he didn't send his son into the world so that it may be destroyed, but that through him it might be saved. Now that's beautiful, son. That's beautiful.
Right.
Why don't you know that next one? That carries just as much weight.
Oh yeah.
But the playing got you thing, I kind of got away from that. And for a minute, I'd go to church. I'd ask preachers. I go, John 3:16, and some of them fire it off. They'd be real proud of that, and I'd say, "What's 3:17?" And some of them duck off. But now a couple of them was like, "Nah, bro," and they hit me with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned eating pills at the time. Now at that point in my life, I had found access to Suboxone. Right? You know of Suboxone?
Mm-hmm.
So what Suboxone is used for is if people are strung out on heroin, meth, they're trying to get off pills and stuff like that. You need a refill?
Yeah, if I could, please.
Yeah, it's right here. Just move the mic and then go to the kitchen. You can take the headset off. Yeah, brother. I'm having fun. Guys, I'm here with Stephen Brewer. We're talking about the Bible, drug addiction, the settlers. This has been a cool little conversation, Mr. Stephen. Mr. Brewer. I'm enjoying this. Hey, Victoria, will you bring me a beer? Okay. Stuck my hands in it anyway. What you gonna do? They go heavy. Dude, it's a quick conversation too. We're already almost done. It's good.
Really?
Yeah, it's good. It's good convo.
And you mentioned aliens too, and I was going to
Yeah,
mention
dude.
while
We got time on
well,
this thing.
while you were talking about aliens, it was, and we, that coincided with the idea of the visitors from out. What does extraterrestrial mean? It means out beyond the world we know.
Yeah.
Right. So what are angels and demons? But extraterrestrials.
I dig it
by definition.
And we're gonna hit it more, 100,000,000%, because I want to hear more about that. Real quick, I'll finish this up, and then we'll segue that way,
Whatever
man.
you got. Yeah, whatever you got.
Heck yeah. So I had got access. I was younger. This was like 9 years ago. I had got access to Suboxone, and again, Suboxone is to get you off heroin, to get people off pills, get people off things like that. I was never addicted to pills, but I'd take it. I'd take the Suboxone, man. I'd trip because I wasn't on pills. Didn't have any problem. When I was a young kid, I got access to Seroquel. Wasn't hard, man. It wasn't hard. None of that was hard. Why is it so hard around here, around where we live? Ider, Henniger, Rainsville. If I wanted drugs, and I don't mean marijuana or mushrooms, I don't mean regular stuff. I'm talking about life ruining stuff. I lump certain stuff, and I don't dabble. You know what I mean? I got different way that I live my life. I do my life the way I want to. I don't lump all drugs into the same category. If I was to drink a half a bottle of tequila right now and go drive my car, someone's going to die. Right. If I was to smoke a pound of weed, 2 pounds of weed, probably no one's going to die. I'm just going to be driving really slow to where I'm going. You see what I'm saying?
And you're probably not going to get out the door to get to the car.
Nah, just going to say, Vicky, you made me a sandwich. And that's why I don't smoke the marijuana. When I did smoke it back in the day, it made me lazy. Made me not lazy, but just kind of down. Gives me feet tingles, makes them hurt.
Took the water out of the stream.
Yeah, and I just ain't for me. Mm-hmm. People that it is, great. At least you ain't smoking crack. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? At least you ain't getting drunk and beating your wife. Why do you think it's so easy around here to get those kinds of drugs? If I wanted dope, I could have it in 30 minutes. Why is it like that here?
I think we live in a demographic of people that it's really important that lots of drugs and lots of opiates flow freely and get people addicted, because we're the people they want to get messed up enough in the head not to realize what's going on, or not to be motivated to do anything about it. What better way than to just dope everybody up, convince them they need it, and then give it to them as a script,
Elaborate. What do you mean? Not pay attention to what's going on? So drugged up you don't know? Things like that. Elaborate.
Well, I mean, you say what makes it such a big problem right where we are. It's like the oldest game in town. There really hasn't been much around here. Like when I was a kid, there was nothing around here, man. I mean, nothing.
Nothing to do.
There was nothing else. Nothing else to do. I tried it a couple times. It didn't go well.
Yeah.
I'm not the skater, but I hang out at the skating rink sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's forgot what we were talking about.
We were talking about drugs being a problem here, how easy it is to get them, and you said not paying attention to what's really going on.
Oh yeah, I mean, because it's it makes money, and I don't know. I think the pharmaceutical company is the biggest drug dealer there is at this point.
I agree.
The FDA,
I agree wholeheartedly.
The FDA is, that's just a big time street dealer. Just hooking everybody.
Yeah, this is legal. Get you a script, dog.
Everybody, yeah. Horrible. And I've seen that take down so many people. It's sad.
And there's good people, but you'll see people, man, and as far as the color code thing goes, they'll get on color code and they're off for a little bit and they're back on it and they're back on it and they're off it and then back on it. There's like a never ending cycle that produces money. As far as business goes, I can respect it. As far as business goes, as far as making money goes, I can respect it. As far as just arresting the same people every couple of weeks, every couple of months to take money from poor people, I can't respect it at all. We were heading on vacation to the Smokies. We passed through Rome, Georgia on the way. I know this officer. He arrested my dad. There's no hard feelings on him arresting my dad. He arrested my dad because my dad handled a situation incredibly poorly. My dad told a police officer, "Hey, I'm going to get some drugs." And that cop said, "What? What do you mean?" My dad handled that poorly. That's public knowledge. My dad's been on here and talked about it. It's just handled it poorly. And he thought that guy shouldn't have said anything, shouldn't have arrested him because dad said something. Well, no, you idiot. You told him that what to do so you could do your job. But I know the officer is the problem. I've seen him when I worked at the jail, and I've seen how he is with people. I
Mhm.
also know who he used to run around with. I love Will Sparks like a brother. We also know kind of how Will Sparks is kind of out there sometimes, right? Especially right now. He's having a hard time. Will Sparks shouldn't live here. Will Sparks is made for big city, bright lights. Let's take him out of here. Okay, that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying we know kind of where he's been and what he's been into. This guy and Will used to be real tight, working out together. They's buddies. So I know the officer and how it. But then you see him around people. I've seen him around people at the jail. He's like, I know they got dope. I know they got dope on him. And if anybody hears that clip, that dope, they know who I'm talking about. He'll know. And I don't hate him. He's never been mean to me. Just seeing his attitude around people, I'm like, dude, this is wild. So we're in Rome, Georgia. Like, he takes a great pleasure in getting people on drug charges. Like, dude, that's the easiest thing in the world. Here, that's the easiest thing in the world. But he takes a great amount of pride in catching them on drug charges, especially to be a recovered, druggie. No offense to people that are on drugs. I'm just for the conversation.
Right.
So we're up here in a Rome, and sure enough, man, he pulls in. Cop pulls in, pulls somebody over. DeKalb County, Alabama cop, trooper, whatever, DeKalb County officer in Rome, Georgia. I don't think that checks out. Don't think that checks out. He's in Rome, Georgia. DeKalb County pulls in, and the guy that he pulls in behind clearly has no money, clearly has no dollar bills. He's probably got his bills paid, but he don't have any money to his name, and I can tell by looking at him. And I'm not judging people under the lens of whether they have money or not. I'm seeing this very, very nice DeKalb County police officer car pull in behind a Mazda B 2200 that's beat all to hell, rusty. And I said, all right, well, let's see who the cop is. And man, he hopped out of that car, and he swole and jacked up, and he ran up that car, and he goes, hey man, you been drinking? And the little old man hopped out, probably 55 years old, maybe 60. And he goes, no, it's just an old car, just drive and get some gas. And he searched that guy's pockets, he searched his wife's pockets, he just absolutely harassed him. Yeah, okay, they'll harassed him out of his jurisdiction. They were there at least 15 minutes because I recorded some of it on my phone. I couldn't just get him up close because I ain't out here trying to police the police. I've got a job. I've got stuff I do. I've got a side hustle. You know what I mean? But just knowing that guy, he harassed him for 15, 20, probably 30, 45 minutes, because I walked in the gas station to pay for my stuff, and even they were like, what's DeKalb County doing in Georgia? But that's his reputation of harassing people. He loves to catch people with drugs. Now, do I respect him as far as the way he's doing that? No. Do I respect the position of police officer? Yes. There's great police officers. Steve Bobbitt was good. He didn't harass nobody.
I know some great ones as well.
There's really plenty of great ones. But the way that he went out there and harassed those people, and if say it had just been those people, I might not have thought about it. But I've seen a lot of people be handled the exact same way over like a gram bag of weed, and it's like, dude, what are you talking about? What do you mean? But he's getting them like that, and I just can't respect the way he's doing it. But let's say
there's some bad apples in every barrel.
Let's say he did find a gram bag of meth, and should he have meth? No, but that was a 60-year-old man. If he smoked a little meth with his wife, dude, I guess write him a ticket and throw it away. But I just knew the guy had no money. So if he had got called up, he wanted to catch that guy, and here's why I believe that he wanted to catch that guy. Had he caught that guy, that poor guy with no money, can that poor guy afford a lawyer that's going to really go bat for him? No. Can he afford the color code? Probably not, but they'll take payments, right? You see what I'm saying? And he has no way to fight it. He's going to have to pay it, or he's going to go to jail because he can't pay the bills to keep his house open and lights on. And just seeing that, I was like, dude, that makes me sick to my stomach, because you're picking that guy because of how his car looked, and he ain't got no money. That's an easy go. I mean, he probably got some dope because his car's busted up, but he ain't got no money, but he's going to have to pay it anyway. And it made me sick to my belly to see it. And it's just a wild it's just a wild thing to see. Why are you going to pick on the poor people? There's plenty of rich people around here doing stuff they shouldn't be. Go holler at them, man. You can't do that because you might have a little.
No, they're donors.
Yeah. That might be like backing no sheriff. Yeah, I feel you. I feel that. So man, that was deep right there. Kevin Hartline's gonna be like swolled up later. He's gonna get fired up about that one. And I don't hate the police. plenty of great police.
For
But
sure.
you signed up to protect and serve, so do that. Stop trying to. Oh, man, we got this. We got 6 grams. No, stop it. That guy wasn't selling that to nobody. He was gonna go get high somewhere. Uh, should it be legal? No. Not. Talking about that. In Oregon, like everything's legal right now, right?
Seems like it. Sounds like
What
it.
do you think about that? How you should?
I don't know. I don't wear a Democratic label. I don't. I was at one point in my life was registered Democrat. At one point was registered Republican, and now I'm independent, so I can't vote in primaries
Did y'all
or
have
anything
to?
like that.
Did y'all have to register? Do we have to register as Democrat or Republican?
I'm independent.
Okay.
You may have done the same.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's. But if I had to slant towards a political platform, it would tend itself to be libertarian, kind of, and that's one of the platforms of the Libertarian Party is just legalize everything, just like get rid of all restrictions. And I don't know. I mean, it's the way that it's regulated. Obviously, we're saturated with drugs anyway.
Yeah.
Everything you take, there's drugs everywhere. It's coming off the street. It's coming through your pharmacy. You're a customer now. When you get in the medical field, you're a lifelong customer. They don't want to heal you. They want to make a lifelong customer. To take these drugs for the rest of your life.
You need them.
Yeah,
brother. You're gonna get better.
Yeah. And then if you take them for long enough, then you actually do need them. You become dependent on them.
They start hurting.
So, I mean, it's hard to say, but I don't think it's certainly being used to take advantage of people right now. So I think it would probably be a better option but the thought of it being full blown, there's too many powerful people that make a lot of money off of it for it to ever be like that.
Oh yeah.
That's why it's not like that. It's not a moral thing. It's just a money thing. It's just the people at the top are the ones, sitting in the halls of Congress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they've got their own vices, man. They're doing whatever.
Yeah. They're pulling the strings from way back. And, if you want to outlaw something and you want to execute the laws that you've written, that you've got on the books, you have to do it, but they don't want to do that.
No,
there's too much money. If there wasn't
Pelosi's
money,
insider trading.
Yeah, if there wasn't,
all them,
that's it.
Son, I wish I had an insider telling me what to put my $400 towards. I can turn my 400 into 1,600. Hell, tell me what to put it on.
Right?
They ain't gonna tell me. I don't know nobody like that.
Mm-hmm. You might find maybe a dozen honest people in all of 535 members of Congress. There might be a dozen.
I'm gonna have a hard time getting politicians to do an interview. Because I'm gonna hit them with a hard ball. So I go interview businesses.
Well, you got to be ready for a hard ball.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go interview businesses for sure, and I love that. If I go to your business and you're not like a scum of the earth person that's really ripping, so if I go to a business and say they're not paying their employees, well, yeah, you're getting a hard ball. But if you're just a business that's trying to do good for the area, dude, you're getting softballs, man. I want you to knock it out of the park. I want you to look great. I want you to tell us about what you do. But now politicians, and here's how I know I'm going to have a hard time getting interviews with politicians. I went up to Valley Head the other day for a city council meeting. Now, I took a nice camera. I took a nice rig. I had a nice little setup, man. We look like money. Right. So I showed up. We get in there, and the first thing that's said to me is by a lady, now I'm in a public right to record at a city council meeting. You can't tell me don't record. I can do that. You can leave, but I'm allowed to record legally. So I walk in. First thing that said to me is, I don't want to be on camera right away.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, you ain't got to be on camera. I'm just going to record this session. Y'all can do whatever you want. They immediately left from that room into another room. I scared them into another room. They were in this room together for 45 minutes. 45 minutes. I just had my camera. I never hit play. I was waiting, and I wasn't there to cause trouble. A buddy of mine told me there was a meeting, and they had a little bit of an issue, and they had been arguing pretty heavy. Okay, go argue. Just do what you've been doing. Ain't nobody. I don't care.
They don't want to be authentic, though.
No,
that's not.
So
good.
They took 45 minutes in that other room, and I told him, I said, well, man, I guess the camera scared them off. I don't know what the big deal is. 45 minutes go by. I was like, I'm about to just go home. Because like, dude, what could y'all possibly be talking about in Valley Head, Alabama, that I'm over here like I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. It's just I've never been to a meeting before. But seeing them go hide away to discuss, that's when I was like, oh yeah, y'all don't want this. So they take their 45 minutes to rehearse what they're gonna say. They come out, they have a very rehearsed thing, they get it done. No, hey, but none of that, man. So while we're there, the mayor is there. I don't want to be wrong. It's the mayor. Now, the mayor, there's a really, really nice house on the way to Valley Head on the right side of the road. Real big brick house. You know the house I'm talking about?
Probably not.
It's a massive brick house, got a big, crazy barn. I mean, an incredibly nice place. Now, the mayor of Valley Head, that's his home.
Hmm.
Now, that mayor is also there's a business in Fort Payne called Drug Testing Procedural Management or something to that extent. It's DPCM. It's something Drug Test Process Management. That's it.
All right.
Drug Testing Process Management.
Hmm.
Now, that gets brought to my attention while I'm there. Now, I thought that he was over color code, and I asked him if he was. He said no. He said no. So I said, "You're not over color code at all. You don't have nothing to do with that." He said no. That was his words. I had it on camera. I said, "I'm not trying to ambush you." He said, "Well, you got a nice camera." I was like, he said, "Well, you got this whole camera." I was like, "Well, yeah." I was like, "It's, tell the truth or don't." He goes, "Yeah, I'm going to tell the truth or walk away." I said, "Yeah, there you go, man. Just question for me. It's just cool. I just want to know where the money goes for color code. Because I would like to know where that money goes. That's a good question. Yeah. And if he's that big dog and that's his house, then okay, I know where the money's going.
Yeah.
I just want to know because I'm curious." So I said, "Well, look, man, you've been very polite to me today. I appreciate the time. I didn't even post it up. Didn't have to. Wasn't nothing cool that happened." I said, "With that being said, since we're both cordial," I said, "Can I get your email?" I said, "Can I set up an interview?" And he goes, "Yes, that'd be great because I'd love to talk to you about what you do and how you make your money because I'd like to make some money." And he said, "Yeah, that'd be great." I said, "Well, let me get your phone number." He goes, "Well, no, she'll get you my email." I said, "All right." Then 2 days later, I sent him an email because I want that interview. "Tell me how you made your money. Tell me how you do what you do." Send it to him. "Hey, nice to meet you. I appreciate the time. When could we set up an interview to make this happen? It'd be so great for me. Thank you. Just let me know when." And that was about two weeks ago, week and a half ago.
Nothing.
Nothing, brother. Nothing. How are you the president of Mayberry and you living in a 4-story mansion, brother? Tell me how you do it. Tell me. And he won't give me the time, man. And I think other politicians, I'm gonna go up next time there's voting at Rainsville. I'm going. I'm
your rig.
I'm taking my rig, man. I'm taking my little handheld mic. "Hey, who'd you vote for today?" Someone asked me for a vote. Why? Tell me why I should vote for you. Tell me. Tell them. That's easy. Tell us why. What are you going to do? And they're either going to be prepared or they're not.
They'll probably kick you out. They'll probably kick you off premises for that.
I think legally they can't.
I don't know. There's the election laws have undergone a lot of changes. There's a lot of, I don't know, but a lot more has been gotten away with in the last 2 or 3 elections.
Well, now, what about the people that are out there like saying, "Hey, vote"? So one time,
technically by law, they're not supposed to do that.
Okay.
I think.
See,
I'm not
that's what I'm
100%
saying.
sure, but yeah, we've seen a lot of it.
So one time I'm out. I went up to the Rainsville, and I love DeWitt. This ain't to put DeWitt in a bad spot. This is just me telling my experience. I went up here. We had a show planned. So I went up here with a buddy to do a pay-per-view check, make sure everything go okay, make sure our internet was rigged up, everything was going okay. And I was homeless looking that day because I was busy, man. Like, I'm working. I ain't going to dress nice today. I'm going to dress nice Friday. We'll see you there. We walk in, and on my way in the door, there's these people at the front of the door. "Hey, man, vote for this cat. Vote for him. Vote for him." And I said, "All right, cool, man. I appreciate that. We're having a show Saturday. Y'all come out and watch it." And they went from looking at me and smiling and being my buddy to, "You homeless looking prick. What are you talking about?" And I went, What? I thought we're having a fight. Y'all got to vote. Come on, we can trade off, man. I'll vote. Hell, And they just disgusted. This, no offense to chunky people, man. I ain't got no hate for chunky people. I'm chunky. But this guy, his suit wasn't put together, brother. I know how to dress, man. I can dress for $30. I can dress nice as mess. This cat had on like a button up and then khakis and pants, but he looked like dog shit. But he looked at me like I did. And I'm like, "Brother, if you see what I'm going to wear Saturday, my $30 little suit, you spent $200 on yours, you wouldn't be looking at me like this. And you want my vote. So why are you looking at me like this?" And he just disgusted. So I did go in and vote. But I marked random, and I did it for the free skillet. They gave me a free skillet, Stephen, for voting. I do want to try to go up. I ain't trying to see who anybody's voting for. I want to talk to those people saying who I should vote for. Tell me why. Tell me why. That should be easy. That should be an easy enough question. I don't know how you vote. But if I asked you how you voted and you told me a person and I said, "Why did you vote for that person?" Stephen, you're an articulate man. Okay. And you would tell me why. because this is what I believe in. This is what he believes in. That's simple and easy enough.
Right.
Not
We've lost that, unfortunately.
Yes.
We're not as willing to do that as we should be.
well, a lot of people's getting paid now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think that'd be interesting, man. And one of the downfalls of elections is people go into those without being thoroughly informed of who's on the ballot or what's on the ballot. I've often thought we really dropped the ball in education, that we don't pump it out through the school systems and say, here's the candidates and here's the proposals, the propositions that are going to be on there. That should be generated through the classrooms, you would think.
Good, because even now I have no idea to know. Like there'll be now Anai's law. Uh, that was a thing that I always would have voted on. A young lady had her daughter kidnapped and killed. That law was passed to keep people from violent offenders from getting out so quick. They voted on that, and that was called Anai's law. Perfect, and I understood that. But I have no idea right now if I wanted to go vote a certain way. I have no idea to know what they're standing for, what they're saying, aside from what's on that ballot. If I go look, it's like, oh, executive thing 445, Johnny Bravo and so. Well, we weren't taught that in school.
Right.
We weren't taught. We don't need to be taught how to vote. We need to be taught how to realize what we're voting
there should
for.
be an objective presentation of who's there, what their platforms are, and here's the propositions and the bills that are on the table for your area. Simple as that. But we can't give, they don't, if you research it, you could find it, but who has time to research all that stuff?
Like we got jobs.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, all the intricacies of trying to track down these B-side candidates for all these positions. But why is it so hard? Why do we have to track it down? Why couldn't they just make it readily available? Just make it readily available.
And that's why I just want to go up to politicians that are running or a bill that's going to get
You
passed.
could help do that.
Someone that's where I'm looking.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us why we should vote for this. Tell us what it's going to do. And if they spit out mumbo jumbo to me, I'm going to go, no, that's not what we ask. Break it down and tell us what it does. That's easy. It shouldn't be hard. Tell us. And
I think you could get candidates to do that. You
some of them
the right way. Some. And if you could get one to do it, his opponent would have to do it.
So why aren't you answering? I want to set up a debate. I want to have how they did I like watching presidential debates. I understand we should vote, but I think we're at a time where it's like my vote doesn't really count.
It's a process now. They've gamed the system.
Yeah.
Democrats have figured out how to game the system with ballot harvesting and mail-in voting. And if you don't go after that and do it better than them, you're never going to win another big election. Never. Because it's it. They've mastered the system. And if you can't sit at the table and play that game.
Do you think Biden really won? Do you think
by all records that were provided? Sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, mathematically it's impossible, but magically it happened. So yeah, it happened.
Do you think he should be running our country? I have no hate for people that have mental problems or what is it called when you get old? Alzheimer's and things
Dementia.
like that. And that. And I don't want to sound that way. I just don't believe, and I love my grandmother and I respect her more than just about anyone on this planet. When she dies, this world will be darker and she'll have never had anything that she deserved in this planet. Okay? If she was to get older and have dementia, though, I don't think that she should run our country. If she had a hard time putting sentences together, I don't think she should be in charge.
He's a prop.
So for what and who do you think?
Basically for the globalist agenda. There's lots of people back there, and those roots go far. That money goes way back and all over the world to the uber rich, talking like the Soros crowd and the Davos economic, the forums at Davos and stuff. And,
what is the forums at Davos?
I think it's Davos, Switzerland, where they get together, and that's when Trump first pissed them off.
I remember that.
Because he when he went there, his speech was all about, we're going to be the United States and we're going to look out for the interests of the United States. And I think that's the point at which they determine this dude's never going to win another election as long as we live. And that's when that's when everything was engineered to we're going to change the election cycle. We're going to change all the laws. We're just going to, we're going to make a new system, make a new game.
I remember that.
We can't let anybody like that in again because he turned the apple cart over and we can't have that,
Now, I think a lot of people's hate on Trump was he was so rich. Now, my biggest gripe is he talked too much. Now, granted, you got to poke people.
He's got his problems for sure.
You got to poke people in the chest sometimes. I haven't been to the point where I'm voting. I haven't voted my whole life. I'm 30, so you got to think I've had what? I had Obama. I had Trump and I had Joe Biden that I could vote for, actually, probably close to it. I might have been able to vote when Romney was running, but the thing is, I think I would have voted for Romney at that time because business speaking. I think
Mhm.
the reason a lot of people voted for Trump is he was a businessman. I think the reason he did a lot of stuff good was he was a businessman. I think his shortcoming was talking too much. That's just
That was one of them.
yeah, but that for me that's the biggest one. And but I think business wise, as far as him running the business like a church and this running the country like a business, my only my only judgment is my gas. Right, that's so far. That's the only judgment I have. I'm such low man on the totem pole. The only judgment that I have for whether you're a good president or not is the cost of my gas. Right,
Right.
I went from right under $2 with Donald Trump
Right.
to pretty close to 4 and 5, or pretty
Two
close.
bucks would have been startling back then.
Yeah.
You know, like, whoa,
Yeah,
wait a minute,
and
what's
I
going
got
on here?
pretty close to 4 with Joe, and I'm like, well, come on, man. And that's
For a long time.
yeah. And again, that's my only. That's really the only thing that I can really physically or make put together to make sense for me as far as it affected me. Right, man, my gas is pretty damn expensive.
Well, and think about this. You know, since 2001, or I mean, since 2021, the Federal Reserve has printed new currency, new paper currency, new fiat currency, okay, bills,
Mhm.
right? 40% of all the paper currency in the United States that's in circulation right now has been printed since 2021. 40%.
Good God,
Wrap your mind around that. Think about that.
that's insane.
And the rate at which the federal government is driving the debt is the last figure I heard coming out of the House was $46,000 per second.
$46,000 a second.
Per second. That's how fast we're digging the hole. You know, so that's gas is you're right. That gas is the local. That's the litmus test for us. You know, for the working man.
Like, oh man,
you know, yeah. But I mean, everything is it's crazy. It's happening to everything because you print so much of it, it becomes more and more worthless.
is that why? So to that, so a lot of people think we shouldn't get raises. They think we should be making money and stuff like that. Like I was talking to my granddad. My granddad ended up retiring and making good money. My granddad started his career at like $4, but I wound it back to his time. And again, this is not 100% fact. I don't have it where I'm doing the research right now. But I looked up what $4 was worth in like 1967, and it was like $24.
It was
or
good
some
back
crazy
then.
shit.
Wow, yeah.
Like cars were like $3,000. You know,
Oh,
a
yeah.
house was like $7,000, and like I don't think, and I make good money. I have a good job. Not like I don't like not to brag. I make good money in the sense that my bills are paid. I'm blessed in that sense.
Right.
Okay. I know some people making less than me. To me, it's good money, right? You see what I'm saying? I don't want to come off as that guy. I make good money for me and my family. I have 4 daughters. I'm living paycheck to paycheck still, but I don't see a scenario in my life to where I can justify or even quantify or even make sense going and buying a brand new vehicle from any place for
Right.
$79,000, $89,000. My granddad had multiple brand new cars and he couldn't read. I can talk, I can work, I can do a lot of shit, but I can't go buy a brand new car. I don't think I can go build a house. And it's making our money mean less. Now, granted,
Sure.
it used to be the land of opportunity. You hear all the time, well, lace your boots up and get to work. I've been to work, dog. The state of Alabama took not every penny I had, but the state of Alabama and other people, when I was trying to pull myself up by my bootlaces and do a thing, took a large amount of money from me. Not necessarily just for them, but through their people that they have working also. It's like, hey, you gotta give this guy money, you gotta give this guy money, you gotta give this guy money. There was no room to make the money.
Right.
And I tried to pull my boots up. I tried to do a thing and lace my boots up. I tried to pull myself up on my bootlaces, and it was like every time I turned the corner, that was like, nah, you're supposed to go back. You're supposed to hit here. There was never a time where it was like, nah, dude, breathe. You did it. You pulled yourself up by your boots, man. Keep going, keep doing what you're doing. We're so proud you're here. We love seeing this growth. We love seeing the people in the community happen, all that. There was never any of that, man. And I hate it because like what the country is supposed to stand for is supposed to be the American dream, man. If you work hard, if you got a little bit of drive, if you got a little bit of entrepreneurial spirit, you're going to maybe not get rich, but you're going to turn a corner. And it's hard to turn a corner now.
Yeah, the working class has been exploited way too long and too deeply. You know, there's everybody standing on our backs. If the American worker didn't do what it did, you wouldn't have these fat cat bureaucrats
Yep.
anywhere, at state or federal level.
We mentioned man, we got off on few good tangents today. On the aliens, what do you think, man? They out there?
That I would go back to the term extraterrestrial. To me, and I don't know, haven't encountered one, but I believe there's something beyond what we know in the world, and that's what the word extraterrestrial technically means. That's the lexical definition of it. So I believe that's kind of what it is. I believe that angels and demons are extraterrestrials.
I feel that. I feel that energy for sure, man. That's a crazy thought for me. Imagine God's just an alien. Hey, hey, man, do this right quick. It's crazy to think about.
If something came to, back to what we talked about at the very beginning about the Joseph and the two messengers, one came to Joseph, one came to Mary. What kind of messengers, right? How did they appear? Elijah went to heaven on a chariot of fire. I think it was Elijah that went to heaven on a chariot of fire.
Crazy.
What's up with that?
That's a UFO. That's
it certainly wouldn't have been able to identify it. People who saw it would have been like, know what that is. Man. I don't know what I just saw. They might have been the ones foraging in the desert for the fungus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Heck yeah. One more question on the way, and then, man, we're going to cut it off. We got more than an hour. It's been an awesome conversation for me today. I appreciate your time. This has been awesome for me. I just tried to free ball it. I didn't write nothing down. I just tried to hit questions off, man, and you did great. You blew my mind some.
You communicate well, man. Heck, it's easy to talk to you, man.
I'm trying, man. You're good people. As far as I can't remember what I was gonna say because I got off bragging on myself and you. We was on the aliens. Bam, bam, bam. Dang.
You'll think of it in about an hour.
Yeah, as soon as we hop off.
Right.
Bam, bam, bam.
I should have your back. You had mine a while ago.
No, you're good. You're good. We're gonna go right here. I'm gonna let you answer this. Why do you think Joe Biden has such a hard time putting sentences together? What's going on there? What is the thing? Does he just talk funny? Does he have a speech impediment?
The man is ill, man. The man is ill. I mean, it's for as irritated as I am at the guy, a large part of me feels really bad for him because he's being used in a very horrible way. He's just a shell of a human being.
On that earlier, you said a thing. You said he was being used for the backing of
for just the basic agenda is to take America out. And for us to sit down and shut up about it. I mean, simple as that. We're supposed to just surrender to the world community and do as we're told. Our time at the top is finished. It's time for us to be the bottom for a while.
Why do you think China's buying so much land here?
Sure. When Bill Gates and China own more property than they own more farmland in this country than anybody else. Bill Gates and Chinese Communist Party. Why? And the balloons and stuff that, they're talking about the balloons and the spy balloons or whatever. They're buying up property near military installations and they're getting legal authority and rights to do that, because the courts are currently pumping the Biden agenda, which is anything goes. Let the migrants flow over the border. Let all hell break loose because we just want to burn this thing down. It's just burn it down and make it back like we want it because we're on the tape. We're the ones at the top. The top end of the puppeteer, so to speak, it's not here. I mean, it's the global community who really hates us, and they've got some valid reasons, some of them,
And to be clear, your wife is Hispanic, no?
Oh yeah.
So you don't hate Guatemalans or Hispanic or anything like that.
No,
you're just saying if people are coming here, they should come.
Well, it's part of the Biden agenda. The Biden agenda is just burn it down. And what's the way to burn it down? Anything goes. Let all the felony charges, let them out. All the people who committed person-to-person crimes, let's release them onto the street. Let's start being softer on pedophiles and start calling them maps.
Nah, not cool.
Right?
Not cool.
Just let all the dogs out of the cages. Let everybody come in from wherever, and put a puppet in charge who can't make a sentence, even with a teleprompter, can't do it, So I mean, it's so obvious and it's so terrible, but what are we gonna do about it? And what are we doing about it? It's terrible.
Now you're an educator. You talk to all people of all sorts, man. I've lived my life the way I have, and you've always done nothing but motivate me. I'm sure you've had people.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, I appreciate the mess out of it. I really do. I'm sure you've had people come through you that have different viewpoints that might be uh, all walks of life. Why? Why do you think on the male female extra things, right? Where do you stand kind of on that? Not like, hey, shit on anybody. Just what are your kind of thoughts on not even the male female thing?
You
On
talking about on gender?
yeah,
Like
yeah. Where you at
gender
on that?
identity
Where
and
you
stuff
at
like
there?
that?
For me, go ahead, go. I know what you're gonna say. Go.
Well, there are what 32, 36 unique uh, DNA chromosome level differences between male and female, right? And
Yes.
there's nothing you can do to change that. There's
Correct.
no narrative you can pair it. There's nothing you can guilt me into,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
about that.
You should be able to have your views.
That is a fact. I mean, that is a biological reality, and we're so out of touch with objective reality, and that's the core of the problem. And that's what we've done. And I hate to loop it back, but I have to, because it all comes back to Jesus. You know, the objective morality of who we are. That's the cornerstone of it, right? And we want to get rid of that. There is no objectivity; it's totally subjective. I'm going to identify as whatever. You remember? You ever watch South Park?
Yes, yes.
You remember the one where like the Kyle's dad wanted to be a dolphin and all that, and they
Yes.
did all the.
Oh yeah, he got jacked
Right?
up, son.
Yeah, I mean,
Similar.
they identified as a dolphin, and Kyle identified as like a tall basketball player
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
You
He
remember
had
that one?
he had balls put in his knees.
They ruptured on a dunk.
Yes, yes.
Right? But I mean, that was like a foreshadowing of what was to come. You know, as far as how ridiculous you want to identify as what. You know, how many different what? I mean, I just and here's
Go ahead, go.
to quote one guy. I tell you what, and to quote a guy who I have a lot of respect for, Dave Chappelle. You know, he got in a lot of trouble with that community,
He's
right?
awesome.
And he responded to his criticism in a really hard to refute way. He said, "To what degree am I required to participate in your
Delusions,
your
and
delusions?"
that's where I'm
You
at.
know? I mean, that's
where
it.
I'm at.
It's I don't mind it. I
No.
don't. You do what
Same,
you do.
same.
Anything you want to. I'm not going to judge you. I don't feel like I have the authority to judge
No.
anybody for
No.
anything.
Same.
Really don't. You know what I mean?
But people want it to be
Don't
one
make
way.
don't make me bow down to it.
No, people want it to be one way or the other. If you come to me and you have a beard, now if you want to be a woman and you're a man, great, okay, no issue there at all. If you want to identify as a toaster, an animal, dude, I don't care. It does not affect me.
And we can still get along.
Yes,
but
don't tell me I have to
don't
say
point
it.
your finger at me and say you better clap.
You're a
or
piece
else.
of shit because you're not.
You
No.
better clap and affirm this, or you're in trouble.
Agreed.
Yeah, excuse me.
I shouldn't have to be that way. It shouldn't have to be one or the other.
I'm not that way with anybody.
No, me either.
Period. Regardless of whatever.
I don't know all of your beliefs. I know me and you don't have the exact same ones, but
nobody does, right?
But so what? Cool. Oh, great. I got a cousin and I love him, man. And we'll get into arguments about stuff, and he'll feel like he gets one over on somebody, but he can't. And he's super far. What's the opposite of the left? far right. He's
Right.
super far right, and he'll feel like he gets one on you, man. Like he'll feel like he gets
Right.
one on you. And I'm like, look, man. The thing is, you got it, but you just can't shut the fuck up about it. You gotta stop. Stop. You're done. You've got your point across. But he just can't stop, man. But there's also people on the far left that are the same
Sure.
way. If you get your point across, dude, you can be anything you want to. Identify any way you want to. It's great. If you come to me with a beard better than mine and you say I'm a girl, I don't have to say that. That's my right of free speech. I don't have to say that. And I knew we would have similar views on that. That's why I ask it. One more question, man. We're going to ease it up. Why do you think you're an educator? Again, you are. I really believe you are. As far as fights and me getting to put shows on, I don't attribute every bit of that to you because I had my passion already. But when you made me write that letter when I was getting my GED, man, that put me showing that I could at least put pen to paper and put my love out there in a different way, right?
You saw what you were thinking on paper.
Yeah, man. First time in my life I ever saw it, and that's when I was like, there's something there. I was young. I was like 17, 18, but I knew there was something there, and I appreciate that. The cool stuff from the AFC does get traced back to you at some point also, and thank you for that.
I'm humbled and honored to hear you say that.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
With that being said, I was never taught how to start a business. I was never taught how to do my taxes. I was never taught how to do anything in school. Why do you think regular school kind of seems like it's set up to produce a new generation of factory worker? Why is that?
Well, the goal has always been to make you just, what was it? George Carlin said they want you just smart enough to run the button, just smart enough to know when to mash the button, and just dumb enough to know not to ask why. something along those lines. Is how George Carlin put it, and that's kind of been the goal from the beginning, and that's why back to the drugs and everything else. It's all about subordination. It's all about putting you down, keeping you down here, and making you shut up about it.
Don't worry about it. You ain't
Right,
got to be.
we're gonna pass and 4,500 page documents. They call a quick, Nancy
And we're
Pelosi
supposed to
says,
read it?
Hey, we have to pass the bill to find out what's in it. That's what Nancy Pelosi said, right? As Speaker of the House, right? So you're gonna call a vote on a 4,500 page document. They've got 24 hours to come down and vote on it, and it's all or nothing.
How you gonna read it?
And it's filled with God knows whatever. One of the people in Ohio, in this place where they had the train derailment, they can't even get FEMA. And the same, and on President's Day, he's over, they've got Biden over and where he's giving the speech about, solidarity with Ukraine, right? He was thinking it was in Poland, maybe, is where he gave the speech, but it's all about Ukraine and Ukrainian flags and stuff like that. And people in Ohio, there's a train wreck there. There's toxic chemicals in their water and in their air, and they can't qualify for federal aid yet. But we're going to go over and announce.
But we can take the money to Ukraine.
Another $10 billion. There's no bottom to that pit. It's a great money laundering operation, is what it is. Maybe it's got a noble cause. Maybe it's got a noble root. But there is a insane amount of money being cycled through that we are paying for, and our great grandkids will be paying for if there is such a thing as the United States at that point.
Well, the thing is, like with the you said the people in Ohio that just had a train wreck and can't get help, but over in Ukraine we can. They brought that guy onto our floor, and they paraded him around.
Oh yeah,
I think there's people that use again. I believe in Jesus wholeheartedly. I believe in God and Jesus just as clear as he's sitting here. My wife's leading my house as far as Bible and religion goes. My wife's leading my house. And people say, well, you're supposed to lead from the front. You can't whoop my ass. Don't. I know that. I know that. But my wife is. She's stronger and better than me than I could ever be. My wife's a dime. 10 out of 10 piece. Just fine woman. Good lady. Takes care of my babies. I do not deserve her. I've done nothing to deserve her. So if I have to bow down a little bit and let her run my house, I don't care a little bit. I don't care a little bit to say that. She'll get all that credit for me for the rest of my life, because there's nothing that I could do on this planet to deserve that woman. She leads my house religiously. And if anyone has a problem with that, say something to me about it. I'll start you in the street. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But you can't. But she leads my home, man. What was we on? I got off on a little tear there because, man, I got to preach about my wife. I had to do it. Where was we at? Where was we at? We was on Ukraine and stuff like that. There was an important part coming from it, but man, I got to preaching for a second. We was on Ukraine. Bam, bam, bam. Oh, I truly believe there's people that use the Bible, Jesus's word. I believe there's people that's using that, like you said, a good thing, because Ukraine is kind of going through it. It seems like I think there's people that take advantage of stuff that is a good word, that is supposed to be a good cause, and they're pocketing money anyway.
Sure. I mean, even back during Iraq War, they were sending pallets. They were dropping cargo planes. Cargo planes were dropping pallets of cash.
That's insane.
That's ridiculous. That's what we do. War is the biggest
money
laundering. Yeah, that's it. That's why the military industrial complex that eats up like 60, 45. I don't know. I'm not really the exact figure. 45. It's like 30, 45. It's a high percentage of the gross national product. It's high. I mean, it's the biggest one. It's all about the war.
Yeah.
And Trump was the only one to not start a war, not,
and that's true.
Presidency, for how far back? For like 15 presidents. It's crazy, So they didn't like that. Shut the valve off.
Does fuel melt steel beams, brother?
That's what?
Does fuel melt steel beams?
That's a good question. That's a good question. It's good to question everything.
Dude, I agree. I've really enjoyed our conversation today, man. We're going to do it again. I want to get next time you come, I want someone not, and again, I'm not putting you on the spot. You're my friend. I just, I've enjoyed talking to you. It's good. I want to have someone else that can draw more out of you and get more out of you, because you got a lot to say, man. There's a lot of good stuff in there. I really believe that. I appreciate what you've done for me in my life. I think there's some really cool things that you're still doing in yours. I'm really proud to know you. Give me a fist bump. Hang on, okay? I'll be right there, okay? Give me just a minute. I think there's a lot of cool stuff you're doing. I do want to come down to the Career Center, and I want to get a little professional-looking interview. This is us shooting the shit.
Oh, that'd be great, man.
Yes, I want to do that. Cool. I'll just need
if you could help us out with promotion.
Please. Awesome. Well, and y'all help, and you do help us out already, man. I can't really talk about where I work on a thing, it's a thing. Because I'm drinking, you know. But we're gonna come in and I want to do that. I just need like 20 minutes of your time. It'll be like 10 questions.
I actually, yeah, I think, yeah. We're going to talk about some stuff off air a little bit later. I
Heck
got
yeah,
some
man.
ideas for you.
All right, cool. Guys, this is my time with Stephen Brewer, one of the best people I know. Super, super nice cat. He works at the Career Center in Fort Payne. He is a instructor at Northeast College.
Yep.
Anything else I need to tell him, man?
Nah, I'm not worth mentioning.
He's
man.
a cool cat, man. He's good people. He's always shot me straight. He shoots other people straight too. Stephen, I appreciate the time today.
Thank you.
Thank you for
having me
coming.
on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Oh, dude, that was fun. That was cool.